Hi there, and thank you for joining me for this Paragon Films product education and training session. My name is Shawn Mitchell, and I am the Paragon Films sales consultant for Ohio and the Pittsburgh area. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about one of the hand film products from Paragon, and that is our Spartan hand film. Paragon has been around as a stretch film manufacturer for about 30 years, and the Spartan line of hand film has been around for a good chunk of that time. So this is a product that we have a long history with, and we've got a lot of successes out there in the field. Now, Spartan is a conventional cast hand film. It's known for its high clarity, so it's got excellent optics, as we say. It's known for its high puncture resistance. But the really unique feature of this film when comparing it to other conventional hand films in the marketplace are the characteristics that we achieve from the resin formulation. So Spartan is a stiffer hand film formulation than what we typically see from competitive films out in the marketplace. Now, when I talk about stiffer films versus softer films, the key things that we wanted to address with the Spartan hand film and making it a stiffer film are some of the challenges that we see arise when we are using a softer film in terms of conventional hand film. So when we've got a very soft conventional hand film, some of the issues that we've noticed with competitive films that are formulated this way are the excessive stretch potential that's left in that film. So meaning if you take a roll of that film, unwind a few feet and have someone hold the roll and begin to pull it, you're going to have a lot of stretch left in that film, and chances are you're going to end up halfway across the room or even all the way across the room when you're doing this test and seeing how much stretch is in those softer conventional hand film formulations before you can actually get the film to lock out on you. So that potential stretch left in those softer films is a problem because when we consider we've got human operators wrapping loads, it's very difficult for them to achieve consistency of wrap and get the same amount of force applied when they have a film that has so much stretch potential left in it. Now, another problem created by that excessive stretch potential is excessive neck down. So if you imagine we've got an 18-inch web of film or an 18-inch roll, and we're wrapping a load with that film, and it's a very soft formulation, when we pull that film to lock it out, it's going to neck down as we pull it, and we might go from 18 inches of film coverage on that load down to, say, 12 as the film necks down on us. So that's going to cause the need for additional revolutions around that load. Obviously, we're getting reduced coverage, so it's going to lead to more usage at the end of the day when we're wrapping that load with that softer film. We also see, in response to that excessive stretch potential, excessive neck down, often the customers that we encounter using these types of films are having to use heavier gauges of film. So those 80, 90, 100 gauge hand films, because those are the heavier weights in film that those customers are forced to use to achieve good containment on their loads when using a softer film. Now, when you consider it's Paragon's entire mission to safely get your goods from point A to point B with the highest amount of containment and the least amount of film used, when we've got those softer film formulations that we see from our competitors, when our workers wrap loads, it may seem like they've got a reasonably tight load there on the floor. But when that load gets placed on the back of a truck and it begins to shift on its way in transit, that film is going to continue to do what it was designed to do, and it's going to stretch with the movement of that load, and it's going to lose containment, and eventually we can see load failures and lost and damaged goods, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid. So another feature of many of these softer conventional hand films that are out there in the marketplace is they typically have a harder unwind, so it takes a lot more energy for workers to actually unwind that film as they're going around the load. And we know we want to take as much stress off of those workers as we possibly can. So Spartan hand film was designed from a resin standpoint to address all of those issues that I just discussed. Spartan is a stiff film formulation, So we get a much faster film lockout. Remember that test I was just talking about where you unwind some film and pull it until you see where the film actually locks out on you. When you compare a Spartan hand film to a competitive roll of conventional hand film, you're going to notice a much more quick lockout when you're dealing with that Spartan product. So that provides for a couple of benefits. We can get quick containment on the loads without having to stretch the film as far. We've still got very, very high puncture resistance and very high tear resistance on that film. But the consistency of wrap that can be achieved with a film that locks out more quickly is a lot easier for our workers to get throughout the day as they're wrapping loads. We also address that problem of the excessive necking down of the film as we're stretching it around the load. So we talked about an 18-inch web, maybe going down to 12 inches as we stretch it on a softer film. With the Spartan product, since it locks out more quickly, we're not going to get that excessive neck down, and we won't need to do as many revolutions around our load to achieve the goal of getting good containment on that load. So as a result, we see with the Spartan film, we can usually show customers a lighter gauge than what they're currently using because they're using those heavier gauge, softer films, and we can offer up a lighter gauge, stiffer Spartan film that will achieve that containment much more rapidly, and they won't need to use as much film when doing so. So just recapping on that, it's really important to note with the Spartan film line, this is a conventional method of manufacturing hand film. This is a method that's been around for many, many years in terms of stretch film production, but this is not a standard formulation on the resin side of things when it comes to what Paragon is actually putting in this film. So we've got that nice stiff film formulation that helps us surpass those challenges with too much stretch potential, excessive neck down, losing containment when loads start to shift. Spartan is going to provide us good containment numbers at the time a load is wrapped, and then it is going to maintain those containment numbers because of that stiffer film formulation. So even as the load is shifting on its way in transit, Spartan is already tight and locked out, and it doesn't want to shift with the load. It wants to keep it contained, and that is our ultimate goal. So we've got high performance and very high clarity on this film. We know that being able to read barcodes and scan different items as we're working with loads that are already wrapped is very important. We're going to be able to get that containment force up on your products, and we're going to be able to do it with less film used when it comes to the Spartan product line. We've got that excellent puncture resistance and tear resistance in place. Again, it is a very high quality resin formulation, so we're producing a high quality product. And we know that we can get consistency of wrap from our workers over the course of the day because this film is much easier to unwind and it's much easier to block it out as we're wrapping loads. So it takes a lot less energy on the worker's part to get consistency. And what we really want to see is consistency of wrap so we can set standards on how we want to send out loads that have been hand wrapped. So what Paragon really does is we sell transit protection film. It is our entire aim to get your load from point A to point B safely and securely and do it for the lowest cost per pallet. With the Spartan handline, this is something we've been doing for many years. We know that this film is optimized in gauge, in stiffness, in overall performance. We've got a very, very consistent film we're offering up here in terms of how we're going to be able to apply it when we're out in the field. It's an excellent alternative if you're using those 80, 90, 100 gauge films. We may have a much lighter gauge Spartan product that's going to do the job better and require a lot less film to do so. So that's entirely what this product was engineered to achieve, address some of those issues that Paragon saw with competitive, softer, conventional hand film formulations. So we are providing this stiffer conventional hand film formulation in a very, very high quality product to achieve good containment on your loads and get your goods from point A to point B with the lowest cost per pallet. Now here are just some of the Spartan product offerings. You can see we start down at a 39 gauge all the way up to a 110. There are several other products not listed here. I would encourage you to reach out to your local rep find out what's going to be the best fit for you. And we're going to be very happy to come in and do a full-scale film analysis, collect all the data compared to the current film you're using, and show you what possibilities you have with the Spartan product in terms of increasing containment numbers and decreasing your film use, and thereby decreasing your overall costs. And again, my name is Shawn Mitchell. I want to thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit about Spartan hand film from Paragon Films. If you have any questions, please reach out to your local rep, and we'll look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.